Aren't you curious about my super special concoctions? Go on, place your orders. Whenever, wherever. That's the Luluca front. Just a moment. I'll be right with you.
Hello everybody, we're back to another first impressions video, and this time we just got announced Ocean Breeze Luluca, the new summer unit for this year. She has self-imprint effect resistance and imprint release HP, which means that her imprints are really high value for a soul weaver, right? They are perfect self-imprint effect resistance to help out getting that high resistance that usually soul weavers require, and AoE HP. Also really powerful for a soul weaver, helps out surviving versus the cleaves where you don't need the high effect resistance but you would rather have the survivability. She also has 30 base FRES, which is very good with her self-imprint concentration. Not that high base speed, right? But as you'll see with her kit, the speed on her, she has a lot of CR boost in her kit, so it's fine. Let's go and see the skills. First off, we have the skill 2, 1 Luluca Special. After an enemy uses a non-attack skill, gains 2 focus and increases combat readiness of the caster by 15%, can only be activated once every 2 turns. After using a skill, when focus is full, consumes all focus and activates Luluca's Special Delivery. This is a special attack that attacks all enemies who are interrupting her delivery, dispelling 2 buffs and an 85% chance to inflict silence for 1 turn and a 100% chance to decrease each chance for 2 turns before decreasing skill cooldowns of the caster by 1 turn. Also, the self-CR boost is 25% if it's fully molled. This skill is very good, right? She has inbuilt cutting potential. When I say this, is that when the enemy uses a non-attack skill, she gets the CR boost, right? Cutting, interrupting the opponent's turn. Also, if this happens and then she S3s, as you'll see ahead, she'll be able to proc Luluca's Special Delivery immediately, which is a really powerful effect, right? Dispelling 2 buffs into 2 really good debuffs, the silence plus the decrease each chance. Then we have skill 3, this one's on me. With quality customer service, dispels 2 debuffs from all allies and grants increased defense for 2 turns, and an ice cream. What is this ice cream buff? It's a new buff. It's undispellable, and after being attacked, recovers 20% of max health, dispelled after being attacked. When you use this skill, you acquire 3 focus, plus the 2 focus if you proc her passive. That means she will instantly proc the skill 2's extra attack. This skill is it's a generic soul weaver skill, right? It dispels 2 buffs, good. Defense buff, really good. Ice cream buff, though, it's a new buff. Recovers 20% of max health after being attacked. Like, I'm not too sure how to feel about this ice cream buff. It feels either useless or decently good. I think, as per usual, this buff is really good for Spectania, right? Because usually how you kill Spectania is through 2 AoEs, right? And with Ice Cream buff, she might be able to survive 2 AoEs and only die out the 3rd one, which is, generally speaking, either the opponent's team doesn't have it or it's really hard to come up with it. But outside of these stealth units, right? Like Spectania is the one that comes into mind because of her permanent stealth, right? But outside of those, I'm not too sure how good this ice cream buff is going to turn out to be, because it can easily be procced and rendered useless. Like, for example, let's say your support, right? Your Mediator Coeric, your Amid, your, I don't know, even your Conqueror Lilies, right? They will just S1 and take away your ice cream buff, and you'll have little to no value off of it. But for example, if it times off after like a Last Rider Krauss S3, it's gonna give you a lot of value, right? It's gonna mitigate a lot of his damage. But again, it's easy to proc and render useless, so I'm not too sure how to feel about this ice cream buff. It's definitely not bad, right? Can't be dispelled. Recovering 20% max health is a lot. It's a big heal. Plus, either way, she defense buffs, which is a really powerful buff, anyways. And she cleanses 2 debuffs. So even if the ice cream doesn't turn out to be that good, the rest of the effect of the skills is good enough. Also, Max Mola, this skill has 4 turns cooldown, paired with her passive, right, that decreases 1 turn cooldown. She might be able to do this skill 2, maybe 3 times during a match if it's not like a really fast aggro cleave matchup. Lastly, we have skill 1, orders in just wait, attacks the enemy with the overflowing energy and increases combat readiness of the ally with the highest combat readiness except for the caster by 10%, with the soul burn applying this combat readiness boost to the entire team. Also, max Smollett, it becomes a 15% combat readiness boost. Kind of reminds you of Amid's skill 1, but Amid is self CR boost, and then if you soul burn, it's the entire team, while this one pushes the highest combat readiness ally, kind of like Benny Maro's S3, and then if you soul burn, it is applied to all allies. It's a decent S1, right? It has value, might be able to interrupt enemies' combos, etc. So it's a decent S1. Finally, we have the artifact Soul Constellation. It's a Soul Weaver artifact, exclusive. Increases effect resistance by 20% at level 1, which means 30% at plus 15. And if you're plus 30, it increases effect resistance by 40%. After that, whenever an enemy uses a non-attack skill, increase combat readiness of the caster by 8%, which means at plus 15, 12%, and at plus 30, 16%. This artifact, though, is really good. Seems really good. Any artifact that I call these the cut artifacts, right? Like Water's Origin, Eternus, giving you a free combat readiness boost, making your Soul Weaver able to interrupt enemies combo. This artifact, I think it's really good. Also, effect resistance by 40%. That's a lot, right? Probably one of the highest outside of Bastion of Hope in terms of effect resistance increase. It's a lot of gear score, so I highly recommend having as many copies as this artifact as possible, since you kind of want it maxed for sure. In the end, as my first impressions and my first thoughts, I think this unit seems to be really good at first instance. She's gonna be really good versus Amid cleaves, right? If assuming both the Amid and the Luluca have their artifacts maxed, she almost pushes the same as Amid pushes the enemy. So you'll probably want her decently fast, right? In terms of build, you'll want her minimum 240 speed. This unit's weird, right? Because if you think about it, her S2 is really good versus Mediator Kaweric because she strips 2 buffs, right? So she'll strip the immunity and the attack buff and then apply the silence plus decrease each chance. So I feel like there's 2 ways to build her. One way is being under Mediator Coeric, which means around 240 speed, and then like either way you want her at least 200 effect resistance at least, and then the rest into bulk, right, into HP and defense. Another way to build her, I feel like she might need to be like 260 speed to reliably cut Amid comps, and then the same thing applies. You still want 200, at least 200 effect resistance, and the rest into HP and defense. I think I love anti-cleave units personally, so I think she's a must-have because of that. And again, really good versus like Amid comps, potential versus Conquer Lilius comps, but there's a problem, right? As per usual, I mean, Polity's really good versus this. I like the fact that she's green, makes it harder for units like Pyra to control her. Even if you're 240, 250 FRES, Pyras could have over 200 effectiveness. So the fact that she's green is going to help out versus the Pyra matchup a lot, which is also very good. And yeah, this is the new summer unit for this year. And Soul Weaver, I don't know what Smilegate has against Soul Weavers with actual healing skills, but she does what a Soul Weaver is supposed to do. She has some healing potential. She has cleanse. She has cleanse on her S3. She even has a strip on her S2. She has debuffs. So there's a lot going on with this unit's kit, and I expect her to be a viable RTA pick versus some aggro cleave comps. And that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the Ocean Breeze Luluca RTA showcase. Have a nice day.